Hey everyone, and welcome back to the review. So in this video, I'm going to talk about the 2023-2024 NFL regular season. And I'm going to be talking about the games, going on. So I'm going to be talking about all the games, like not all the games teams are playing, but like after all the games are played, like who wins each, who wins the American Football Conference, East, West, North, and South, and same with the National Football Conference, the NFC, the East, the West, the North, and the South. Well, I'm going to talk about winning every, and this year's regular season starts Thursday, September 7th with the kickoff game on Thursday Night Football, NBC Lions and Chiefs. And then it ends, 3, 8, 12, 17. And it ends January 7th, 2024 is the last week of the season. Yes, it is last week of the season. So let's talk about. So in the AFC East, now this is a toss-up division. Any team you could win. It's going to be really competitive now because last year, you had any team that went too, but after Zach wasn't playing or something like that, things went down a little hill for them. Now, things are looking up now. Things would have looked up even if Zach Wilson was playing the whole year. But now he's been, now you got Aaron Rodgers and his players that his favorite players that want to leave, want a fresh start, are joining him. And we'll see, if this works out for the Jets. Or is it just like last season? Where it's like a failed experiment. Because, we'll see, maybe we'll see. We'll see. So it's the Bills against the Dolphins. The Bills are still always going to be good. They're always going to be great. The Bills, they're always good. They've always been for the last few seasons. So I can, they weren't always great, but especially last few seasons, since Josh Allen's been there, they've been pretty good, and and they've been getting good players to come, because they turn around and some not so great players, and then they could end up, those, that's what they did, people that, in their same rosters, and then they got, they could draft, better, and then, maybe once you start, you just find, undervalued, free agents and stuff like that, and that's what they did, and then they end up, and stuff like that, and just draft right, or just kept the players they had from before, when they started turning around, and they've been working on it. The Dolphins, it's going to depend on it. Is Tua Tagovailoa, the University of Alabama quarterback, is he healthy, or is he not going to be healthy? Because last year, he wasn't healthy last season, and it took a toll because they actually, they didn't make the playoffs, but they made it as the 7. That's pretty much the 7. So they barely snuck in. So they probably could. I could see them. If Tua Tagovailoa was healthy, I could see them making it. The Patriots. Do I see the Patriots have a chance to make it? Yeah. But last year, they didn't make it the last season. So they might be the odd one out, actually. Which is hard, They might be the odd one out this season. which is hard to say. You know what I mean? It's hard to say that again, but they could actually be the odd one out in the AFC East, in the American Football Conference, he says. Because I don't, you know what I mean? You don't see them, you know, but the Jets, I mean, I don't see Jets doing amazing, like, right away in the regular season. I mean, they did, Rodgers and the players, they did get some practice in the preseason game against the Giants. The Jets-Giants preseason game. So, I could, you know, it might take a little bit, but I could see the Jets, like, not, like, winning the thing. But, obviously, I don't see them winning it, I don't believe. Because they're going to need to take a little time. You know what I mean? Practice they're getting time, but the real game reps what actually gets, you know, what really helps. I mean, the preseason may help a little bit, but they need to take some things from that and work on it in practice. But we'll see, you know, I think they may need a little bit to get used to it, but I think they can still make it on the fringe there. Maybe like a 5, 6, 7 team. But they'll still make it. The AFC West, the only two teams I see are the Chiefs and the Chargers. All this the Broncos, maybe the Broncos. But I kind of, you know, I mean, we'll see if Champagne and them can turn around the Broncos offense, you know. They might not be, like, amazing, like, right away. The Broncos might not, but, you know, maybe not this season, but, you know, even if they don't have as good of a season, I mean, like, you know, like a playoff season, they might, if as long as they have a better season, like instead of, say, like whatever they got last year, improve by a couple you know, if they can improve by a couple every year over a year, you know, I think, you know, that would be a nice touch for the Chiefs. You know, they're gonna be favorited. I mean, definitely, you know, with Patrick Mahomes, you know, every single player they got on that team, especially in the offense, and the defense is solid too. I mean the defenses, in the football, you know what I'm saying, like, they're not as valued nowadays as much, but still need them to make like a few big plays. You know, they can make at least a few big plays. You know, that'll help. And then the Raiders. The Raiders, they did get rid of Derek Carr to Saints. And you know, they're starting fresh. So I don't see them. I see them taking some time to, you know what I mean, obviously. The Chargers, yeah, I still see them. I don't see them winning the thing, but I see them still, you know, doing well in the AFC North. Now the Ravens, I see them winning the thing, and the only reason is because the Bengals and Joe Burrow is out, and if he plays in the regular season, he's supposed to be out a little bit in the regular season, but then there's speculations like, oh, is he gonna be out for longer than they said? You know, longer than, like, the doctors thought. You know, the doctor, you know, like the hospital, like the team trainers, like the team people, and like the medical staff and the team, or like the hospital you went to or something. You know, they said like a few, like, I can't remember what it was, but was it like a month or two? Something like that. And then they're like, well, he might miss more than they say he's gonna miss now. Maybe. So we'll see on that one. But the first couple weeks, you know, if the backup can do good enough to win these games, we'll see, you know, even Joe Burrow's come back. What's the next positive step in Bengals QB recovery? So we can see here. Burrow isn't going to play, of course. Making progress towards being ready for week 1 in Cleveland. Standard several weeks from when I first said several weeks. I mean, physically, just walking around. That's positive. He did a pregame workout ahead of the first preseason game. Yep, and then the routine, they went through the same routine. So he might play week 1. We'll see though. I mean, I'm not really let's see. I'm not, you know what I mean, it's not really sure on that one, but they do play the Bengals do play the Browns. Then they play the Ravens the first couple weeks of the season. So we'll see, you know. Oh, and then they also play the Rams on the 3rd week of the season on the double header Monday Night Football. You know, there's 2 Monday Night Footballs. Week 2 and 3. And they're playing the ESPN Monday Night Football. So I can see the, you know, the Ram. You know, I could see them, you know, maybe being 1-1 or 1 and, I don't know about 1 and 2, maybe 2-1. You know, if they play the first 3 weeks without them. So we'll see. So it's just going to depend on, who is Joe Burrow and all them. Is the full crew going to be healthy week 1? Or is, I mean, there's someone coming back from an ACL injury, so that helps. But are the Bengals really going to be fully healthy with all their number ones week 1? And when they can finally be fully healthy, mostly, you know, fully healthy? Or if there's players that, you know, like, are having to acclimate to be number 1, they get them used to being the number 1, you know? Like, you know what I mean? Can they actually, you know what I mean? So. And then the Ravens, but I see the Ravens winning it just because of the fact that the Bengals are, Joe, you know, the real Burrow might be out for a couple weeks because they gotta play the Texans, they gotta play the Bengals, then they play the Colts. So they have a pretty favorable schedule, like, right away. I mean, they play the Cardinals, they play the they do play some favorable teams. But they do play a lot of playoff teams, though. Like, except for the Rams, except for the Steelers, maybe. But they don't play the Cardinals, the 49ers. They weren't in the playoffs. They might not. I mean, the 49ers will be, but the Rams weren't. The Rams and the Cardinals weren't, excuse me. I mean, the 49ers might not be, but we'll see, though. The Cardinals and Rams. The Titans were in the playoffs, but so they only play like 3 teams. I mean, the Steelers weren't in the playoffs either, so, and the Colts and the Texans. So I mean, they do have a little bit of favorable schedule, but they also have a little bit of favorable schedule in the end, mixed in between some of these tougher games. You know, so in the beginning, you know, even if they start losing some of these tougher games, you know, the easier games at the end, beginning without Joe Burrow with playing the Bengals early on might help. And then you have the Steelers, which I mean, the Steelers could make a better improvement on they did last year. They were 9-8, so they could be just on the edge of being a playoff team. And then the Browns didn't have Deshaun Watson the rest of the season, so Deshaun Watson, you know, maybe it may actually be like start to be a playoff contender.